There aren't.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning, Russ.
Welcome to this session. My name is Russ Jarvis, and I have the honor and privilege of introducing our speaker today. This morning, you're going to be listening to a presentation on Clothe Em, Em Clothe Em. The presentation is being done by distinguished Toastmaster Mark Henkel. Mark has been a Toastmaster for about a month and a half, under 4 years, which the very fact he has a DTM designation is quite a tribute. I heard just this week that it's on average 8.5 to 10.5 years from the first time you get your icebreaker till you get your DTM. That means that over the next 4 or 5 years, we will see that Mark has got 2 more DTMs. Mark is a recipient of the Alan E. Seavey Award in 2012, and he was District 45's Toastmaster of the Year for 2011-2012. He's a regular contributor to these events at TLIs, at conferences, and a very strong proponent of Toastmasters. He's a self-employed net-trepreneur. For those who haven't read the bio, that's an entrepreneur on the internet. Not sure how to go any further than that, so let it go. He is also a professional advocate in politics. During his 3 years at university, Mark managed to get degrees in business administration and accounting with a GPA of 4.0. Perfection seems to follow Mark where he goes, or perhaps he drags perfection with him. He was a keynote speaker at Yale University. That in itself is an honor, and he joined distinguished ranks. Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia and presidential candidates John Kerry and Rick Santorum have also had that presentation honor. Today, Mark will be sharing his special insights on how to sponsor and retain members. Without further ado, I would like to introduce Mark Henkel, distinguished host.
It is my hope and compassionate desire that you will really learn and remember this workshop. Clothe Em and Clothe Em. I'll be providing you with some memory tools so that you'll be able to bring this back to your clubs. So that you'll be able to answer the fundamental 2-part question. How do we help guests become members? And how do we help members stay members? Now, before we do that, you will be using paper and pen, and you should have some paper in front of you. I would ask take a single piece of paper in the front of you and write the 2 words, permission slip. Write the word permission slip. And on this permission slip, please legibly print, so that it's readable, your name, telephone number, and email address. Include the area code. If you also want to include your Toastmasters Award designation and club officers, that's fine as well. But most important is your name, telephone number, and email address. And when you've got that permission slip completed, feel free to put it to the side because we will get back to that later. That's your permission slip. But first, what I want to do is I want to have some fun. We're going to play a finger game. So while I see some of you are still finished your writing there, not completing your permission slip yet, when you're ready, take your hands and stick them out to the side. Then take your fingers and bring them to your palm and wrap your thumbs around your fingers. Now bring your fists together out in front of you. And then bend the wrists at each other so that your thumb and fingers are facing you and the back of your fists are facing me. Now, take this hand and point at the other fist. And with this one, raise the thumb. All set? Now, put them back to fists. Now we're going to do the opposite. With this one, point with this hand to this hand and stick this thumb up. Now, before you put this down, I'm going to tell you what we're about to do. I'm going to 3 times, on the count of 3, I want you to switch to the opposite. Every time I say switch, you switch. Okay, and then after we've done that, I'll stop counting and we'll just switch. So you ready?
Ready.
1, 2, 3, switch. 1, 2, 3, switch. 1, 2, 3, switch. No counting. Switch, 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 switch. Most of us are not going to be able to get this when we first get started. But the point of that is now what I want you to do with that is take out that first hand with that you did and point and say, close them.
Close them.
Now with the other fist, stick the thumb out and say, close them.
Close them.
And now together we say, close them and close them. This is a memory tool to help you remember this workshop. I will be presenting this in 3 segments. First, I'm going to tell a story that illustrates why we want to close and close. The second segment, as logic dictates, will be how to close them. And the third segment, again as logic dictates, will be how to close them. So let's start with our story. In this story, I'm standing in a building. Over here are different people of different levels of attire and socialization. And back here is a closet full of clothes. Over here is a door to the outside. To the left of it is a window through which I can see who's on the doorstep. Outside it is dark and cold and snowing and freezing. Those of us here on the northeast coast of the United States and Canada, we just had a long winter. We know what that's like. Well, that's the weather environment outside in this story. I think someone's at the door. I look through the window. There is somebody. Who's outside? It's somebody. They're crouched, and they're freezing, and they're shivering, and they are naked! Ah! The first thing I want to do is open the door. Come on in out of the cold. This person is cold and shivering, and they're kind of timid and not sure, but with some coaxing, they take that step through the doorway. The first thing I want to do after that is I want to protect them from the cold. I want to close the door. I want to close it. But now, so this person's standing here, and they're getting warmer now. They're not shivering so much, but they still suddenly realize that they are naked. Now, I'm not sitting here judging them, and I'm certainly not hosting a nudist colony. But I have compassion that they came out here naked. So the first thing I want to do is I want to bring them to the closet where we have clothes. Now, for the sake of our story, I'm going to say it's a guy. Because I don't want to get distracted saying that I told a story picturing a naked woman on stage. So I bring this person to the closet. There's a pair of pants. He takes the pair of pants and now he puts on them. Now he's not so embarrassed. A little awkward because he's topless. Finds a shirt. Puts the shirt on. Feeling a little better. Still kind of socially awkward because, well, he's barefoot. There's shoes and ties. Puts on some dress shoes. Takes a tie, puts that tie on. Now he's starting to feel a lot better about himself. There's a sport coat. Takes the coat, puts the coat on. Oh, now he's feeling grand and ready. He walks over and starts socializing with the rest of the people. I've clothed him. This story illustrates why we close them and clothe them. Because we do this because we care. And this is the story to illustrate an understanding of compassion that we have as the motivation for why we close them and clothe them. Close them and clothe them. So now we go to our second segment, and that is how to close them. Before I proceed, I would like to ask, how many are familiar with the word closer as it applies to closing sales? Do we have any ideas of what the connotation of the word be a closer means? Anybody ideas? Anything?
We finish off the final details.
Finish the detail, yep. Any positive, any negative connotations about the phrase?
Sometimes. Depends on who that salesman is.
Okay.
Pressure.
Pressure. That's exactly right. This is absolutely not about pressure. I have sponsored 40 people in the last short period of years, as was described in the introduction. And it has never been about pressure. It's about recognizing that naked person freezing outside the door. and wanting to close them to protect them from the freezing outside. Because they came to us. Some of you may be familiar with a workshop that I have presented called Be a Closer, the 5 steps for guiding guests to become members. I'm not going to give you that whole workshop here. However, I am going to give you a memory tool by which you can remember those 5 steps and bring this tool back to your clubs. Take another piece of paper, blank, that you're about to use and draw. And across the center, we're going to, just so that you visualize before we do it, we're going to write 4 capital letters. There'll be one on the far left, one on the far right, and 2 in the middle, all about equal distance from each other. So now you know where you're about to draw these letters. In the middle 2, draw the capital letter I and another capital letter I. On the outside left, draw a capital letter C, and on the outside right, draw a capital letter C. So you should basically have C, I, C. Now with your 2 I's, to prepare you, what you're about to do is draw a circle, but don't do it yet. From the top of your left eye, draw a semicircle arrow to the top of your right eye. So that from the left to the right is a semicircle. And draw that little arrow mark at the top of the right eye. Then continue that circle and draw from the bottom of the right eye to the bottom of the left eye and make that little arrow. So that you have a clockwise circle around the eyes. This is your eyeball, so that you can see. You need to know what your eyeball is, and we're going to get to that. But this is where things happen, is in the eyeball. Now over here on the C, draw a straight line arrow to the eye on the left, the beginning of the eyeball, and at the end of the eyeball, draw another straight line to the C on the right. So that you pretty much have a flow chart of C to the left on the eye, the right eye, to the right C. That's your flow chart. Finally, over here on the left, where you have your C and your I, about, like a triangle, if you will, up at the center between the 2 of the I and the C, write the letter W. And from that W, draw a straight line arrow to the first C on the left. So that essentially what you have is a fishing hook. It's a rough one, but it's still a fishing hook. Because actually the reason why we draw it this way is your permission fishing hook. Now this is the 5-step process. Take another piece of paper and we're going to identify what your WCIIC stand for. Because you drew this permission fishing hook to remind you what the 5 steps are so that you know where you are in the process. So write bullet items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're going to write 5 things. This is the 5 words. Number 1, write the word welcome. That's what the W is at the top of the hook there. Welcome. Number 2 is connect. The second word is connect. So that your first word is W, your second word is connect. Then your third word is investigate. I-N-V-E-S-T-I-G-A-T-E. Investigate. So that you have welcome, connect, investigate. Then through the eyeball, number 4 is incentivize, which is spelled with a C, like the penny cent. I-N-C-E-N-T-I-V-I-Z-E. Incentivize. So that you have welcome, connect, investigate, incentivize, and the last 5th word is close. Because that's what we're doing here anyway. We want to close. So this is your 5-step process for guiding guests to become members. And what this is for a memory tool is it is our permission fishing hook. Now how do we do this? When a guest first arrives at a club, hi, how you doing? I recognize that you're not one of our members. My name is Mark Henkel. Nice to meet you. What brought you to our club? You're welcome to be here. I totally want them to feel they're welcome to have come to our club. Then when the meeting begins, when the different roles stand up to describe what they'll be doing for the meeting, the table topics master, and this is key, will describe what they're doing and then we'll address the guest and say, dear guest, I will first ask 2 table topics for 2 of our members first so you can see what it's like. But if you would like, I will also ask you an opportunity to do a table topic as well, if you would like. If you don't want to, that's okay. I just want you to feel welcome. At this point, the guest now feels they're not an outsider. They're involved in the meeting. Even if they don't participate, they know that they feel welcome. When the table topics master does ask the question, take note of what they do. because you'll use that later. It doesn't matter whether they do an answer or not, you will utilize that. And then finally, when the meeting is over, I am right back there. Hey, I'm glad you came. I hope you enjoyed our meeting. And now I want to get them from the W to the C. I'm about to do what I call permission fishing. I've got that fishing pole and I'm casting out a line. The process of closing is not about pressuring telling others. It's about asking questions that they give you permission to keep continuing. So I'm going to ask them a question. I am permission fishing. I cast out the line. Is it okay if I send you an email in the next 24 hours? Now they're either going to say, no, I don't want to. Well, thank you. You're not going to waste my time. But if they say, yes, please do, I'm on it. And at that point, I'm sending them an email within the next 24 hours because I want to get them from the W to the C, the connect. So I open up that email within the next 24 hours and I identify who I am because they've not had an email from my address before, so they don't know what that is. And then I want to connect with them. And here's where the beauty of the table topic reply works magic. I praise them for what they did. If they did a reply, I say, it was awesome how you said such and so and so and such. Because when I was a guest for the first time in a meeting, I wouldn't even do a table topic. So my hat's off to you. And they're like, oh yeah, they're feeling really great about themselves and they have made a mental and emotional connection with me. Now we're on an emotional level together as equals. And they're loving that. But what if they didn't do a table topic reply? I still do the same. No worries about not doing the table topic because you know, when I was a guest, I wouldn't do a table topic, so no big deal. I still connect with them. They're still thinking it's okay, so it still works. And we still get that mental and emotional connection. Now, for those of you who did do a table topic when you were first a guest at your club, whatever, you'll find a relative way to do the same thing. But the key is to first connect, because that's what puts them onto the hook. Because this is the permission fishing hook. Then I end the email with a question. More permission fishing, casting out that line. And I ask them, what goals do you have that you hope to achieve for your life? Because the more I know what they are, the more I'll be able to help identify how Toastmasters may be able to help you achieve them. So what goals do you have? I am permission fishing, because you see, I may be asking that question, but the underlying question I'm really asking is, do I have permission to keep engaging with you? Because if they don't reply, they're falling off the hook. But if they do, woo-hoo, I'm reeling them in. They took the bait. They answered the question and gave me permission to continue. That question was investigate. I was asking to find out what they're about. So when they do and they come back, they've answered that question. Now I'm ready for incentivize. Incentivize is a permission fishing where I am asking with an incentive, can we proceed to a close? So I am more or less, what I really do is I ask, boy, it sounds like you're quite interested in getting started soon. If I come with an application already filled out for you, except for your name and address, would you like to meet me 15 minutes before our next meeting with a check for such and so, and we can get you started right away? I offer them an incentive to want to do that, but I'm asking a question. I am, again, permission fishing. I'm asking a question. It's ending on a question. Now again, either they're going to fall off the hook, or if they're not ready to close, you'll notice that the incentive of your eyeball, this is the one place in our flowchart you've got two possible arrow directions. You've got the bottom of the eyeball. Because if they do answer, but they're not ready to close, then you've got to investigate some more. You will always be in the eyeball until they either fall off or they close. You're never giving up and just leaving it to hope and chance. You are always in the eyeball. If they're not ready to close, move back to investigate. What else do I need to know to be able to help you with understanding about Toastmasters? You ask questions that investigate, always asking a question. They give that answer. Well, that's great. If I come with a printed copy of the icebreaker, would you like to meet me at our next meeting for that? And finally, at that point, it moves to the close. I'm either in the eyeball, investigate to incentivize, to investigate, incentivize, they fall off the hook, or they close. It's one of those three. And that's the 5-step process for guiding guests to become members. Welcome, connect, incentivize, investigate, incentivize, and close. And that's how we close them. Let's now move to the third segment, which is how to close them. I have a term I call quitter predictor. And what that means is that what are certain things that people will do as Toastmasters that are pretty much a predictor that they're probably going to quit within the next year or so. Any ideas of possible quitter predictors?
Attendance.
Attendance.
Lack of participation.
Lack of participation.
Backing down from opportunities to speak.
Absolutely. I have found the single leading quitter predictor that someone will quit within a year or two, if not sooner, is what I call the naked Toastmaster. The naked Toastmaster is not a term as a judgment. I'm not having any negativity, but it is the observation that they are not working for any Toastmaster's goal. If they're not working for anything. I like to joke, you did not join Toastmasters to be a timer 19 times in a row. A naked Toastmaster, and we all have these in our clubs. And we don't want to look at it with judgment. It's a recognition. This is a high quitter predictor that they're likely going to quit. So how can we clothe them? And that's what we want to do, is clothe them in their own goals. Now some people will have communication goals for their life. Some will have leadership goals for their life. But even if they are a leadership goal for their life, the thing is, I'm looking down in the long term, competent leader and then advanced leader. The beauty of the advanced leader bronze is that not only do you have to be a competent leader, but it makes sense that you can't be an advanced leader if you're not at least a competent communicator also. So I still need to get them through the competent communicator manual, even if their goals are for leadership. So here's how I would help the new person. I want to take them to the closet. So take another piece of paper, and we're going to write 4 rows. The first row I want you to write is the number 3 and the word, or if you want to be an artist, draw pants. 3 pants. I want them to put their pants on. I want them to get to 3, which is 3 speeches. Now some of you will say to me, well, isn't the first goal really to get them to do their icebreaker? Well, I said 3, and you've got to do the icebreaker to get to 3. But for me, the icebreaker is really, it's their undergarments. And if you just have somebody say, here's your undergarments, they're still going to feel pretty naked. I don't know too many of us who want to stand around here in undergarments. I want to get them to 3 so that they're putting on their pants. And here's what I do. I offer to mentor them. Would you like me to mentor you? And usually that's a positive response that I get. And I take it one step further. Because I want to make this the goal they set for themselves. I haven't told them anything. I bring them to their own competent leadership manual. And I point out CL project number 9, which says, and I show them and they say, oh yeah, if I help mentor them for their 3 speeches, I'll get credit for CL project number 9. Now mind you, so that you understand, I've done 6 completed CLs. I'm okay with CL project number 9 right now. But what I'm doing is I'm building a bond. They're thinking, oh, he's going to help me for my first 3 speeches, and this is my way to help him. So now we've got a teamwork bond. Sometimes people will push themselves harder for a goal that they feel they're part of something than just for themselves. And so this creates that motivating factor that we're in this together, and they will get to that 3rd speech. But the beauty of this is they set the goal for 3 speeches, and they're working for that. So I brought them to the closet, they put on their pair of pants. That's 3. The next thing I would ask you to write is write 5. And next to that is shirt. They're going to put on their shirt. The next, that's the 5 speeches, is the half CC. Does anybody know what Toastmasters changed the name of half CC on their ribbons to when it rebranded? Anybody?
Half competent.
Yeah, half competent. I'm not calling anybody half competent. I'll stick with half CC. But the point is, the person figures, I got the 3, I can do 2 more to get to 5. What you've done before suddenly makes it easier to get to that next level. 3 makes it easy to know you can get to 5. So now at that point, they've got their pants and their shirt on. But while they're no longer naked, you know, it's still kind of socially awkward to be in a group of people where you're barefoot. So at this point, I wanted to get them to the next set of clothing. So the 3rd level to write is 10 for your 3rd row, and that is shoes and tie. And if we want to talk about women, we'll say shoes and pearl or whatever other accessories you want. But like I said, I wanted to stick with a guy here because I didn't want to get distracted with imagery of a naked woman. So at this point, we're talking about shoes and tie. So he puts on his shoes, he puts on his tie, and now he's feeling pretty good. He got to the competent communicator. And what made it easier for that person is because he had gotten it 5, he was already half CC. Yeah, if I can do 5, I can do 5 more. Competent communicator doesn't seem as far away from the half CC mark. And now it seems achievable and doable. So at that point, they've got their pants, and they've got their shirt, and they've got their shoes, and their tie, and now they're feeling pretty good. There's a psychological transformation that takes place in a person when they go from barefoot pants and shirt to now being dressed in dress shoes and a suit tie. So the next thing I want to do is point out that you can't stop at the competent communicator. I have seen a nightmare more than once, and I share this nightmare with you so that we learn from this and not let it happen. I have seen people get to the competent communicator and quit. What's going on? How does that happen? They became a naked Toastmaster. They took their clothes off. They had no more goals. They had nothing else to achieve that they were working for. So that's why the 4th thing I want you to write is a plus sign, which is the advanced levels, and the word you want to write is sports coat. So we're dressing them up in the sports coat. They put that sports coat on and keep them working toward their advanced goals. And so through this process, what we have done is we have clothed them and used the process of helping them stay in goals so that they're not naked. Because the greatest quitter predictor that I've observed is if they don't have and are not working for Toastmasters goals, they are naked Toastmasters who will eventually quit. So we want to clothe them. And that's how we help members stay members. So let's recap what we've learned here. We learned how to close them, where we learned the 5-step process for guiding guests to become members with the memory tool of the permission fishing hook. We learned how to close them, where we take them to the closet, where we help them progressively take on new goals so that they're no longer naked Toastmasters. We've learned some memory tools, such as the story that illustrates why we do this, the catchphrase of the title itself, and of course our fun finger games. Now the purpose of the finger games, close them and close them, close them and close them, was to give you an icon to remember this. If you want to play with that for the rest of this conference and you see me at a table and you go like this and we do it together, I'll do it back with you. Because what that will do will help reinforce your memory to close them and close them, close them and close them, close them and close them. Earlier on, we did a permission slip. You should relocate that, make sure you know where your permission slip is there. That was my permission fishing with you. We will not have time for a Q&A here, but if you would like more information on this workshop or any other workshop that I have done for Toastmasters, please bring that permission slip up to me at the end of this workshop, and I will get an email to you, not the next 24 hours, but the next week or so, and I will get that. And make sure you check your spam folder in case your email account doesn't recognize me. So bring that up at the end. There will also be evaluations to fill out lastly. What I really want for you is to remember this workshop so that you can bring this back to your clubs. So I'm going to do a series of I ask a question and you say something out loud. The first I want to do is I'm going to ask the questions of how do we help guests become members? And I want you to stick your hand up and say, with your finger like this and say close them. When I say how do we help members want to stay members? You stick up your thumb and say close them. Then I'll ask both. How do we help guests become members and help members stay members? You stick them both. Close them and close them. You all set? Ready to try this?
Yes.
Yeah.
How do we help guests become members?
Close
them. How do we help members stay members? Close them. How do we help guests become members and members stay members? Close them and close them. That's right. Now 3 more questions. But this time it's the same answer each time. I'm going to ask why, and you will repeat the answer back all 3 times because we care. Why do we help guests become members? Because we care. Why do we help members want to stay members?
Because we care.
All together. Why do we help guests become members and members stay members? Because we care. It is my deep and compassionate hope that you really remember this workshop. Why? Because I care. It is my deep and compassionate hope that you really remember this workshop. Why? Because I care.
Wow. Mark, the only recommendation I'd make is you got to work on putting some enthusiasm into your presentations.